A few quick ways that your children can practice multiplication independently and without tech. Using either 2 dice or a deck of cards, most likely with the face cards removed. So they're just using 1 through 9. They're going to roll their 2 dice and depending where they're at, multiply. So they might just be writing 5 times 2 and they might know that's 10. They can make their list and then you can check it later when you have time. If we're still at the beginning of stages of figuring out what is 5 times 2, you could, whether you use Cheerios, pennies, Legos, dots, they could just use their marker. And then let's have them make 5. So again, they're doing this on their own. You don't need to see this part because you'll be able to tell if they're doing it right later when you get the final answer. So either they've made 2 groups of 5 this way or 5 groups of 2 depending on how they counted it. And then they move on. Maybe you don't have anything that's going to work and they're just going to make some dots. 3 rows of 1. Well, that's just 3. 3 rows of 4. So 3 times 4. And if it's just about that rote skill, at this point in the game, I'm not too worried about rows and columns. Eventually it will make a difference. But here we have 3 rows of 4 or 4 rows of 3. If you're curious to see how your kid counts it, they might be counting by ones. Hopefully we're going to start counting by 3s or by 4s and you're going to see that skip counting. So the 3, 6, 9, 12 or the 4, 8, 12. But they will have their own unique ways, trust me, of how they count and get to that. So this is one way that they could be doing it. Once they have this list, you've got free time later in the day, then you can check it off. The ones that they didn't get right, then maybe have that time where, can you show me how you got this one? And see what their strategy is. If your kid has Legos, this one's a little bit more challenging, but have them make rectangles. So once they've made a rectangle, what multiplication does that represent? And this time they're counting the nubs, I forget what they're called. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if they don't know it's 24, then they can sit there and they can count those little nubs. If you want to challenge them, and once they've done this bunch, you could give them a list of products. So you could say 36, 16, 24, and have them make a rectangle that matches this. You could just give them the one number because there's a lot of different ways. And how many different rectangles can you come up with? Granted, this means that they have to have access to some singles. Doesn't have to be that long, but some singles. Or they might realize, like, I can't do this one because I don't have something. But this strategy will bring a lot of thinking of how many rectangles can you make that would have 36 of these little things.